Hi everyone. I just wanted to take a minute or two to make a video and to talk briefly about the research process. Since you are starting your research projects over this week and we'll be conferencing next week, I just wanted to take a minute or two to kind of let you know my thoughts on what that research process is. I think when you look at the research project, it can seem overwhelming because there are a lot of different steps and there's a lot of different things that you have to do. But one thing to keep in mind is that this is all part of the same project. So I've broken down the research process into each of the individual component steps in order to walk you through the process rather than to emphasize just coming up with a paper. So the goal here is to think about how does actual hands-on research develop? How does original research in an academic setting develop in response to, on the one hand, the things that you observe, and on the other hand, the things that you read. So we start off with a subculture or community. And my goal there in emphasizing this and having this be the starting place is because I want you to have something you can observe, that you can look at directly and think, okay, that's interesting. I wonder what's going on there. I'm trying to figure out something about why people behave in such and such way. Now, maybe eventually your project will go in a slightly different direction. Maybe you'll end up emphasizing a concept, and that's fine, but the project needs to start with a group of people. But it can be any group of people. It can be teachers. It can be doctors. It can be students. It can be children. You can start anywhere you want. Now, you may need to narrow it. You may need to change directions. You may need to become more specific. You may need to become broader. It just depends. The thing with actual research is that you can't always tell where it's going to go. And I think one of the problems with research, at least in college, is that sometimes people feel like they have to know what they want to argue before they've even looked at it. And the whole point is actually to be responsive to what you see, to be aware that, okay, X, Y, and Z is happening. I wonder why. And to then trust the curiosity that you have and wonder why. So for instance, you might say observe a group of people who are part of a fandom. Let's say you were doing a fandom and you were observing them and you were looking at how they talked, and then you start to realize, it's interesting. The people in this fandom are really interested in volunteering. Why would a fandom bring together volunteers? Why would a fandom be conducive to volunteer work? So then you start to think, okay, how does volunteer work? How does volunteerism work? So then you start to research, for example, philanthropy in the United States, or the statistics of volunteers in the United States, or how young people volunteer. What kind of people are volunteers? Now, you might not find articles about your fandom as people who volunteers, but you can find information on the volunteering and you can find information on the fandom. And then you will bring those together in your research project. The best research is you bringing together all of the information and then using that to construct your own analysis. That's our goal here. So you start off with a topic, and the craft of research walks you through this process. You start off with a topic, and that topic develops into something, to a question. So you have a topic, fandom. You develop a question about that topic. Why does fandom operate in such and such way? But that development even can potentially happen through the process of observation. So I ask that you come up with a research question to give you a place to start. But then you're going to do an observation, and after that you do another draft of the proposal, because potentially your draft and your question has changed now that you have observed the group. So once you've then observed the group, you kind of figure out, am I still going in this direction? Can I get more specific? Have I changed my mind about what I want to look at? What strikes me as interesting now? And then you revise what your next steps are going to be in that second draft of the proposal. You then start to develop your academic resources, bringing in more information. That's where the annotated bibliography comes in. And there's this back and forth procedure the whole way until you come up with the final product, which is the 5-page paper. But by that time, you have all of this information because you've observed things, you've interviewed people, you've done surveys, you might have academic sources, you have popular sources, and you just have your own thoughts that have had time to develop over a few weeks. So really, that's kind of the chunk of this assignment. That's really the goal here, is to think about how your ideas can develop over time and to allow yourself time for that to develop. That said, we're under time limits, so you don't want to go too long without having a topic. But don't get so worked up that you're like, I have no idea what topic I want to do. choose a group of people that you think you could be interested in learning more about. That's really where it's starting. If you want to be a teacher, maybe observe teachers. If you're interested in cosplay or World of Warcraft, observe those kinds of people. You can do papers about anything. There are examples in the research and reference section, so maybe have a look at those, and those can be really helpful for people as they're trying to develop these projects. We'll do our conferences on Monday, and I'm going to ask you some questions about academic sources, whether you know what they are. I'm going to ask you some questions about your topic, so just come prepared to say, I'm interested in doing this, this is what I'm thinking, this is why, this is where I see it going. It's just a conversation. The chat sessions are typed chat sessions. We're not going to do video this time because I have to do a few at the same time to get everybody in. But if at another time you wanted to set up a video chat, we could do that then. I'm going to be working on your portfolio grades this weekend, hopefully, so I'll start getting those back to you as well. But if you have questions on anything, let me know. Okay, all right, talk to y'all next week. Bye.